Welcome to Challenger Deep, athletes rising above adversity, where we explore stories of athletes who've faced their lowest points and risen to incredible heights. Did you know Challenger Deep is the lowest point in the ocean, making it the lowest point on Earth? When you're at your lowest, the beautiful truth is there's nowhere to go but up. We all face adversity, but how we choose to respond defines who we become. Join hosts Jeff Heggie and Tammy Matheny as we share powerful stories of everyday athletes' resilience, growth, and triumph. These stories will inspire you to rise above your challenges and reach new heights. Let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to the Challenger Deep podcast, Athletes Rising Above Adversity. I'm really excited today. I have a guest that I actually got to meet in person yesterday for the first time. But Madeline Wilson is joining us, a collegiate volleyball player from Wofford College. And she's had about as the biggest of challenges that, an athlete can have. And I'm excited for her to share the story and get some insight into how she's risen above. But first of all, Madeline, Mad, I'm gonna call you Mad since I've realized that's your nickname. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So, for those that don't know, those that know me probably know Wofford College, but I know a lot of our listeners do not. Share with us why Wofford is unique, how it's unique.
Yeah, so we only have about 1,800 students. It's only undergrad. 40%, I think, is the correct number, are athletes. And yeah, it's a super great educational school. We have awesome athletic teams and support staff. It's just a special place. I feel like you are walking around campus and you know a lot of people, and a lot of my friends are athletes because the majority of our population are athletes, and it's very homey. It's awesome.
I was just asking what city it's in for our listeners.
Yeah, it's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's like just north of Greenville.
And I hated to start off with that, but I do think it's a unique college, and I wanted to give it a little shout out there. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to you though. You have dealt with stage 4 cancer, gone on to still pursue a career in collegiate D1 volleyball, and it culminated in 2 conference championships. So do you have the ring on you right now?
I don't. I should have brought them. I'm sorry. I don't just wear them around. They're really heavy. So I just keep them at home and I look at them.
Oh, well, give us some insight. Start with where the journey started.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up as an athlete. My parents signed me up for like every sport possible. Volleyball is different. It was special. It was like me. I wanted to try it and do it. And all of that, like, will to try it and do it came from me. I started playing at the like club level, which is like a competitive level for those who don't know volleyball, when I was 10, and then played at the same club, Triangle Volleyball Club. I have to give them a shout out. Until I was 14, actually all the way through 18. But when I was 14, I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And that kind of, took me away from volleyball for a little while. I ended up being fine. I finished treatment, came back, was playing the sport for another year or so, and I relapsed. And that journey was a little bit harder. It was a lot longer treatment time and time away from volleyball, school, people as a whole. And yeah, I finished, and long story short, I ended up, playing volleyball in college because that was always my dream.
So the whole thing behind our book, Challenger Deep, Athletes Rising Above Adversity, is basically what you've done. It's talking about the athletes who have faced adversity of different types. And rather than that, defining them and stopping them from chasing their dreams and goals, they've risen above and, if anything, became stronger and better because of it. So when you look at this, this is an amazing story, and I'm so glad that it has turned out well for you. What was it after going through that adversity that still gave you that drive to chase your dreams?
Honestly, it wasn't even after, it was during. I mean, the first time that I was sick, I went through, I think, like 6 months of treatment. So it was like fairly short in the grand scheme of cancer treatment. Um, and, the drive was just to get back. I was only 14, 15 during that. So I was like, I have plenty of time to play in college. Like, this is still my dream. I can still do this. When I relapsed, I was 16, turning 17. And, like by then, kids are already recruited, like teams are full, coaches have already made their selections. So a lot of that drive kind of went away, and it sent me into like a really dark place. And my dad, I have to shout him out. He put in so much work for me just to open my eyes and remind me that this was still possible and show me the ways that we could make this possible, despite the 1.5 years of treatment I had to do the second time. I mean, he was talking to the school board, like talking to my club coaches, reaching out to people he knew that were in the college volleyball scene. And so I ended up reclassifying and stayed an extra year in high school so that I could play an extra year of high school volleyball and an extra year of club volleyball. And that's how I got recruited. But, in that second bout, that like dream and that hope kind of went away. And he was the person that was able to, get that light back, which he's awesome. But yeah, then it became like, let's focus on getting through this second round and let's get back to working out and getting back in shape. So that kind of became like the light and the positivity for me, because I was talking to Tammy yesterday, like, if you focus on the present when you're going through cancer treatment, it is just so depressing. Like, you're in a hospital, it's so consuming. So for me, it was that focus on like, what's next? How can I get through this? How can I get to what's next? And yeah, that's really how that dream stayed alive, because it was what got me through.
Hey, this episode of Challenger Deep Athletes Rise Above Adversity is brought to you by doTERRA, the world's leader in essential oils and wellness products. Are you ready to fuel your health and recovery like a pro? Listeners of this podcast can get 25% off all their doTERRA products and supplements. Head to the link in our show notes or go to confidentathleteprogram.com/doTERRA and start your journey to peak performance today.
That's really amazing. And I think something that I really love about that is, and I think a great lesson for those listening to this is, there are going to be times that we need to rely on other people's belief and other people's confidence to help us get through some of the adversities that we're going to face.
For sure.
Again, I told you yesterday, I'm very impressed and amazed with your journey. Obviously it was adversity, but what we're wanting to teach and hopefully bring out is adversity is not always a negative thing. How would you define adversity? Or what does adversity mean to you?
This is a loaded question.
Well, now, and there's no right or wrong, but I love this. Like, I love hearing our guests' answers on this. So.
I don't know if I have a definition, but I feel like
What does it mean?
as an athlete, I like crave it in a way. Obviously not like having cancer, but like setbacks, I feel like as an athlete and playing a team sport is like, we need setbacks to be able to like be better. And for me, like, yeah, cancer was a huge setback, obviously, and I wasn't asking for that. But I think a lot of it has like made me the person I am today. And so I feel like adversity is just maybe like one step back to take 3 big steps forward. It's something that sets you back momentarily, but in the end, like, it's going to make you a stronger person, a better human, and a better athlete. And so that's something that I feel like having cancer has helped me like realize, and I like welcome adversity in my life because I know that once I get through it, it's going to be brighter days afterwards, you know?
So with that somewhat definition or what it means to you,
Sorry, long
and
definition.
no, I love it. I love it.
It's perfect.
And what you've been through. So obviously you're playing collegiate volleyball. There's always going to be challenges.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many that we could get into with volleyball, but again, being in the same town, I've been aware of what's going on with Wofford, volleyball and having worked with them in the past. But you're the small school that most people discount when it comes to the bigger names in the conference. So share a little bit about how your journey helped the team win these two championships back to back.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like not to like hype myself up. I feel like I'm hyping myself up right now.
But you were an important
That's all
component.
right.
Yeah.
I feel
Others
like
need to hear this.
I feel like and I hope that my teammates can attest to this, but I feel like obviously them all knowing what I've gone through sort of brought a different perspective to the team environment. Especially like my freshman year, I came in and I was way in over my head. Like I had just gone through 4 years of like cancer treatments and trying to recover. And I came in and I was this kid that was not ready to be playing D1 volleyball. And like everyone knew that. And they kind of like put me on their back and they were like, we're going to do this because you deserve to be here. And that was something that like I really needed to like feel from my teammates, which was great. And I feel like, as we kind of progressed through the years, it ended up being like, again, I feel like I have a different outlook on adversity than a lot of people do just because of what I've been through. And I tried to bring that to the team and I tried to be like, yeah, okay, we lost to whoever, but like we're the underdogs. We like being the underdogs. Rank us fifth in the preseason poll because we're gonna win the tournament and we're gonna go to the NCAA tournament, So a lot of that like underdog mentality we really love, and I feel like adversity is obviously a huge part of that. Is like we didn't get the preseason ranking we want, but we didn't let that define us, and we like prevailed through that.
I think that's a great lesson, obviously, for you and your team, but for all our listeners too, as they listen to this story, because as we face different adversity, you didn't get the ranking that you want. Is that really going to crush you? Like, I just beat cancer. Come on. Let's compare the two, right? Which one's really a big deal? And it puts things in perspective. And, because when we're in the midst of competing, those small adversities that might have a negative impact on how we're playing, our mindset, everything, when you can put it in that perspective, it really puts you in a position to rise above.
Certainly.
One question I always ask, because I feel like my belief is it's at the foundation of who we are and our confidence. But the bigger picture of why did you play college volleyball? Like, why did you want to continue playing college volleyball? Yeah, we all want to win, be part of a team, but what was the bigger picture?
Honestly, for me, it's what, again, like got me through having cancer. And it was my dream from being a little kid. I wanted to play Division I volleyball and I wanted to be in the NCAA tournament and like the girls I watched on TV. And when I got sick, that was kind of my why. Like my why to get through cancer was to end up playing volleyball. And I feel like obviously now that I'm, a senior and out of it, that perspective has changed. And I, can kind of see a bigger picture of like, okay, this worked out how it was supposed to. But in the moment, my why of playing was to get me through being sick.
And then as it's over, you said you realized another why.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about this yesterday. My sophomore year, my head coach's son got diagnosed with osteosarcoma. and I know she's going to be watching this, so hi.
Shout out
But
to Lindsay.
right. She's the best. And honestly, my freshman year I went through, like I mentioned, it was really a hard adjustment period for me. I had gone through these years of having cancer, and I got thrown into D1 volleyball, and it was a lot harder than I expected. And so my mental health, suffered, and she was like a rock for me that year and was really there for me and understood, I had to take some time away for a little bit, and she was super understanding. So the summer going into my sophomore year, we found out that her son Lauren was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, and I was gutted. I don't think I've ever told her this, but I mean, to see people that you love and care about go through something that you firsthand know how horrible it's going to be. I mean, I was sick. I was like, I can't do this. I contemplated not coming back my sophomore year because it just felt like it was too much. And she had to step away from the team, but I feel like our relationship grew and changed so much because not only was I her athlete, now I was somebody that she could confide in and what they were going through. And I feel like my dad again was like there for her, and I was there for her. And when I got to senior night this year, I kind of looked back and reflected on, like, why did I end up being at Wofford? Like, how did this small school find me, and why was I meant to be here? And when I look back, I feel like that was such a big reason, because how often do you have a cancer survivor playing at a D1 school, right? And then how often do you have a head coach whose child is diagnosed with cancer? Like, it's not a thing. And so when I look back, I think like, oh my goodness, that's why, like, I was meant to be here for her through that. And I was meant to like figure out how to embrace the fact that I had cancer instead of, run from it and shy away from it and act like it never happened. So yeah, I love her. Shout out to them. They're amazing. But yeah, that's become my bigger picture of why I was on the Wofford volleyball team. So
I love that
That's
because I mean, it's obviously a big part of your journey through your time at Wofford, but it really is. It's an experience that so many can gain from going forward. And your story, your message, everything is going to be so helpful to so many people going forward.
I just think it's been obviously a lot of challenges, and no one wants cancer, but I love the Cinderella story, and watching you again, going back and watching you guys. I'm watching on ESPN Plus as you guys have this amazing run through the tournament. And match point, I think I actually had tears in my eyes for all of you, and just knowing I didn't know you at the time, but had known all of the backstory. And what did that moment feel like?
I mean, I'm gonna go back to my junior year, the first time we did it.
What were y'all preseason that year?
I think not first, but I think third or fourth,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
lower. I'm not sure. But I just remember like winning and running on the court, shaking hands, and I find Lindsay after and I give her a hug, and I just said, "This was for you. Like, we did this for you." And whether or not everyone on the court like consciously knew that at the time, it was just like an ode to the fact that she had to step away from our team for so long, for a whole year, and she comes back and we win a conference championship. Like, she is this just amazing woman. And I just looked at her and I was like, I can't believe we just did that, but this is for you. I was sobbing, of course, because we had just won. But no, it's a great feeling to like win with your teammates. And again, that like underdog mentality of like, we weren't ranked first. No one expected us to win. Nobody expected us to win when we got to the championship match. Like, and we do it, and it's just like, yeah, we're here. Same thing happens this next year. We lose 6 seniors who were, fundamental to our team, and everyone was like, no shot, they're going to do it again. And here we are. We had that underdog mentality, and we fought through. So it's just amazing. I'm so proud of all of my teammates and coaches, and it's been a great 4 years.
So what, for any team or individual out there that is in the underdog, because a lot of times people are underdog and like nobody expects me to win and they almost use that as a crutch or an excuse.
Right.
What's the biggest, or not biggest because I'm putting you on the spot, but one piece of advice you could give them to that underdog that's out there?
Honestly, just ignore the noise. Like ignore what everyone is telling you. Focus on your team or yourself if it's an individual sport, and just remember like who you are and your core of like what your goal is. Because I feel like for us it was win conference. And so going into the season, it was like, all right, they don't believe we can do it, but we believe we can do it. So like internally motivate yourself. Don't listen to other people because it's never helpful.
I resonate with that. I love that.
Yeah.
Be mindful of the voices you listen to in your head.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, that's one thing Tammy and I talk a lot about in the Confident Athlete program is dealing with your self-talk, dealing with all of those external things. Do you have something you would do? Because, I mean, we're looking at the big picture, you know, but in the midst of the battle and something doesn't go right and you've got that negative self-talk, do you have something you would do to help overcome those little things?
Yeah. So again, I feel like the first time that I was sick, I had this like, I call it toxic positivity, because I think that being positive is great. That's awesome. But sometimes we have to recognize what's going on around us and be like, this sucks. And the first time I just was like, this is fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Like, we're just going to get through this. Like, it'll be a piece of cake. The second time again, like I said, like that hope of my dream was lost. And I sort of realized that I kind of have to sit in the feeling and the negativity just for a minute. It's not supposed to dwell, but just sit with it and be like, okay, this is hard. Like I'm going through something hard. This sucks. Like I don't want to be in the hospital for 2 months straight. Like, yeah, this sucks, but like it's going to be okay. And then move on to that positivity, but I feel like not recognizing what was going on was really damaging to my mental health the first time. So that was something that I did the second time, and I still try to do, is like, let's just be aware of what's going on, and it's okay that it's negative, but let's then figure out how to move on instead of just pretending like everything's fine and happy and, go lucky, because that ends up damaging you more than just recognizing what's going on.
I love that distinction because it's something I've needed to be more mindful with as I work with teams and individuals. Because I do think there's this misconception about positivity. Oh, you always got to be positive, always be positive. And there is what I call false positivity. It sounds like what you call
Yes.
toxic. Um, but I have found it more of challenging teams and athletes to be productive. Be productive with your thoughts. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it doesn't have to be everything's rosy, but being productive is you're not sitting there dwelling in it.
Right.
Okay, I do feel this way. What am I going to do about it now?
Right.
So I love that distinction that you made there.
Yeah, for sure.
So when I listen to your story, obviously it doesn't matter what's thrown at you. You're going to overcome it. You're going to achieve your goals. And so my thought was I was going to ask you, what are your goals going forward? But I don't think that's the right way. I should just say, what are your plans going forward? Because I know whatever it is, you're going to achieve it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm a psychology major, and, obviously having cancer is really hard. I had to deal with mental health struggles starting at age 14, which is like, really young and a hard age to be dealing with thoughts that are, that negative, and anxiety and depression and everything that comes with it. So I came in to Wofford wanting to be a doctor. I quickly realized that I want to, help people going through hard times, mental health struggles, anything really in the realm of psychology. So now I'm teetering between sports psychology, because I can't leave sports because it's been my entire life, and clinical psychology, dealing with people with anxiety, depression, things like that. So I'm in between the two. There's a lot in psych that you can go into, but yeah, just helping people, I feel like, is ultimately the goal, giving back.
She's coming after our job, Jeff.
No.
I love it. That's what I was going to say. Hey, come join us.
No, I'm joking, and I've already told you I'll be glad to help in any way I can with helping you move forward. So, and I want to put you on the spot, but I gave you got a copy of the Challenger Deep yesterday. Oh, I love it. She's even putting it up there. And I didn't prompt her to do that, but did you have a chance to look at it? Was there a story?
She did prompt me and said, just open it, and the first story you open, you can choose. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Get this. I open the book, and the first story I see is about Erin Matson, who I am obsessed with, as any female athlete should be.
You said you're a Dookie, though. Come on.
Okay, but are you kidding me? She's like, I fangirl over her so hard. Every time I'm in Chapel Hill, I'm like, what if she's going to be at the Purple Bowl and then I can meet her? Like, I'm not kidding. I'm obsessed with her. I think that her story is amazing. And, I have it bookmarked, obviously. But, when
Jeff and I also are big fans of her, so anyway.
She's amazing. I'm fangirling too hard.
Last week.
What?
I got to meet her this past week, but yeah, different story. Go ahead.
Hey, let her know that I'm obsessed with her. No, let's just send her this podcast. No, but I really loved how she talked about, taking risks and just going for your dream. And that's something that once I was out of cancer, I had to do. I had to email coaches and be like, I know you haven't heard of me because I've been fighting cancer for 4 years, but like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Like, someone take a chance on me. And, I found Wofford, and Lindsay took a chance on me, which was amazing. But sometimes you just have to go to people and be like, I know I can do it. I don't need you to believe in me right now. I just need you to take the chance. And that's what I had to do. And it worked out. But I just really loved how that was, her main message of sort of going to her AD and being like, let's do this. Goes and wins a national championship, then goes and wins a national championship as a coach. She's incredible. Any female athlete, again, should be obsessed with her. But yeah, I just love that.
That's awesome. I see a lot of parallels. I mean, you kept pushing someone to give you a chance. I mean, but relatively at the levels that you're at, you kept pushing someone to give you a chance, and you ended up with basically Wofford's national championships is to win the conference. I mean, when you put it in relative terms, it is. So I like the parallel there, but it is a great story, as is yours. And, like Jeff said, I have no doubt that you are going to be successful and rise above anything that life does throw at you. So you've been an inspiration to many out there, and I'm so excited to share this and hope it reaches someone that needs to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
And for anyone listening that doesn't have a copy of the book yet, go to jeffheggie.com/free book. You can get your copy. Read the story about Erin. It is an amazing story. As we refer to her, the female Michael Jordan at UNC. So yeah, amazing. But Madeline, thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey. It's an inspiration. I know it's going to help people out there that you're impacting a lot of people. So thank you for that.
Thank you, guys. This was fun.
Thank you for joining us on Challenger Deep, Athletes Rising Above Adversity. We hope these stories inspire and equip you to tackle life's challenges head on. Don't forget to visit www.confidentathleteprogram.com/Challenger Deep to get all of our free resources from the book, your copy of our book, and access to 2 free weeks of the Confident Athlete Program. Remember, in life, adversity only visits the strong. It stays forever with the weak. Let's rise above together. See you next time.